The suitcases were lined up by the door, zippers humming shut like promises being sealed. Vacations begin with hope, with the belief that distance can heal what routine has worn down. We travel to forget stress, to chase peace, to feel alive again. But sometimes, when we step away from what is familiar, we step closer to something watching, waiting, hidden beneath postcard beauty. Tonight's true disturbing vacation horror stories are not only meant to make your skin crawl, but to awaken something deeper inside you. These are moments where joy turned to terror, where laughter froze in throats, and where survival carved lessons into trembling hearts. Every scream carried meaning, every escape carried wisdom, and every shadow left behind a truth that still breathes. The first story begins with warmth, the kind that lowers your guard without asking permission. A young couple arrived in a small seaside town, the kind of place where time moves slower and strangers smile easily. The cottage they rented looked like a dream pulled straight from a travel magazine. White curtains fluttered in the ocean breeze, wooden floors creaked with character, and the host welcomed them like family. He told them stories about the town, laughed with them, handed over the keys with reassuring eyes. Comfort settled in fast, wrapping around them like a blanket. They slept deeply the first night, the sound of waves washing away any lingering caution. On the second night, they heard footsteps on the porch. Soft, slow, measured. They told themselves it was nothing. Vacation logic whispers that danger takes holidays too. But fear doesn't disappear just because you're relaxed. It waits until you stop paying attention. The third night, the air felt heavier. The ocean was silent, unnaturally still. Around 3 a.m., the woman woke up with the feeling that someone was watching, that instinctive pull in the chest that has no words. Her eyes adjusted to the dark, and that's when she saw him, a shape standing just inside the bedroom door. Breathing, close, familiar. Her scream shattered the illusion of safety they had built. The intruder fled as lights turned on and neighbors rushed in. Police later uncovered the truth that chilled them more than the intrusion itself. The host had a master key. He had been inside other rentals before, watching, waiting, choosing moments when guests felt safest. Comfort had been the disguise. Trust had been the door left unlocked. The couple survived, but they left changed. They learned that rest without awareness is vulnerability, that intuition is not fear, it is protection, that even in moments meant for peace, you must keep one part of your spirit awake. Fear taught them to respect themselves enough to listen to the quiet warnings they once ignored. The second story unfolds high above the ground, where clouds cling to jagged peaks and silence stretches endlessly. A group of friends traveled abroad for an adventurous hiking vacation, chasing breathtaking views and freedom from city life. They laughed loudly, took photos endlessly, and trusted the marked trails without question. One wrong turn changed everything. The trail faded into nothing. Phones lost signal. Night fell faster than expected, as darkness wrapped around the mountains. Strange sounds, echoed whistles that didn't belong to wind, footsteps that stopped when they turned round. That first night, fear pressed in from all sides. Panic threatened to fracture them, but something powerful happened in that isolation. They gathered close, they shared food, they took turns staying awake. Fear forced them to become more than tourists. It turned them into survivors. On the second night, they found stones stacked neatly outside their tents, formations none of them had made, whether human or something older, something unseen. They never found out. What they did discover was strength they didn't know they had. Leadership emerged. Calm voices steadied, shaking hands. They survived until rescue by refusing to let fear divide them. Isolation stripped away distractions and revealed resilience. Sometimes, being lost shows you who you truly are. Sometimes, terror teaches you that you are stronger together than you ever were alone. The third story begins with curiosity, the kind that feels harmless until it isn't. A solo traveler exploring an old European city heard whispers of an abandoned hotel on the edge of town. Locals warned him not to go. They spoke of disappearances, of screams heard through boarded windows at night. But curiosity has a dangerous way of disguising arrogance. He went anyway. Inside, dust coated everything. Hallways stretched endlessly. Doors slammed on their own. Whispers followed him, calling his name though no one was there. Panic rose as exits vanished, corridors looping back unnaturally. When he finally escaped, collapsing onto the street in daylight, he laughed it off publicly, but privately, he never forgot the cold certainty that some places remember those who enter them. The lesson wasn't to stop exploring, it was to explore with humility. Curiosity without caution opens doors you may not be ready to close. Another vacation took a man deep into the wilderness, alone, searching for peace among towering trees and untouched trails. Nature felt welcoming during the day, sunlight filtered through leaves like blessings. At night, everything changed. Silence felt so complete it hurt. Then came the breathing. Heavy clothes circling the tent. Every instinct screamed to run, but wisdom whispered stillness. He stayed frozen until morning light returned. He left the forest shaken but alive, carrying a lesson etched into his bones. Nature is not cruel, but it demands respect. Beauty does not mean safety. Being a guest means knowing your place. Locals warned them not to swim at night. The water looked calm, inviting under moonlight. One decision later, a rip current pulled a child under. Panic exploded. What saved them was not strength, but memory. Emergency advice heard years ago, practiced once, never forgotten. Listening saved a life. Wisdom often speaks softly, but survival belongs to those who pay attention. On a long road trip through a desert, a family's car broke down near an abandoned settlement. Night brought cold and distant lights, flickering where no one should be. Fear crept in, but they gathered, prayed, grounded themselves in faith. When help arrived at dawn, they realized something profound. Fear tests faith, but faith can carry you through the longest nights. In another foreign city, unrest erupted without warning. Streets filled with shouting. Sirens wailed endlessly. A traveler hid strangers in his rented apartment, heart pounding with terror. In that darkness, compassion overcame fear. Horror tested his character, and humanity answered back. Sometimes the scariest moments reveal the brightest courage. A honeymoon ended in chaos when a ferry capsized during a storm. Survivors clung to debris, praying, screaming, fighting, exhaustion. Those who lived spoke later of how life felt sharper afterward, more fragile, more meaningful. Survival wasn't just escape, it was rebirth. A second chance carved from terror. These true disturbing vacation horror stories are reminders written in fear and survival. The world is beautiful, but it is not gentle. Comfort can lie. Curiosity can mislead. Silence can scream. But within every frightening moment is a lesson meant to protect you, to strengthen you, to guide you forward. Fear sharpens awareness. Darkness tests resilience. And survival proves that even when terror finds you far from home, you carry strength within you. May your travels be guarded, your instincts trusted, your courage steady. You were never abandoned, and the light that saved you was already inside. You watching, waiting, ready to rise when fear came calling.